No Woolworths bags formed against me prospered today.
That the commitment to protecting a person's autonomy and dignity requires individuals to have a right to determine who touches their body and how the touching will occur. That is
actually not shopping at Woolworths. I was shopping at there's radio on the background. I was at Checkers, but I just decided, let me take my bags. I'm tired of paying money for plastics. So yeah, let's do a mini grocery haul since I was able to. Folding this to keep in my bag, because in the second bag mushrooms, coffee. I want to taste this. I know it's not lactose free, but I really want to taste it. Pumpkin, I'm lazy to peel these. Mixed veg. Onions. And apples. Final bag is just cereal. Yeah, it's just cereal, so all bread plates. Pernito. Music. Sorry. And soup. Let me tell you about what happened. I don't usually buy Pernito because I like it, but not as much as I like Movite. Like, I really like Movite. But I got to the shop and Movite is like almost 45 rand, and I was like, no ma'am, no, I'm not buying this because there's Pernito and it's like 50 rand. Why would I buy Movite for almost 50 rand? Why would I do that to myself? And I still have it, but I always stock up on it because I just eat it. Like sometimes even at night I wake up and just eat Movite. But I was like, hell no, I'm not paying this much money for just Movite. When did we get to that? I'm so annoyed. I'm really annoyed. But yeah, that's the whole. And yeah, I'm going to have to find food, eat, drink my medication, and take a nap. It is making me very drowsy, so I understand why I was put off more than anything. It makes you drowsy. Yum. Okay, so I'm calling it a day. It's not even 3 p.m. yet. Flu is the pits, but at least I ate proper food today, not like yesterday. So this is adulting. Just came back with my washing and also went for a sports massage. I think it worked for my back because typing, and I think I have stress sitting on my shoulder. That's even what that person said. It could be stress because I've not been lifting in a while.
but I have not injury, but pain that usually is caused by lifting, and I'm not lifting anything. I'm just typing for 7.5 hours a day. Anyways, yeah, this is washing, and we'll do a sit down video now or in the morning. I think in the morning. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. AsandaNtini, and let us speak about consent, sexual consent to be specific. What does our South African law say? Because I think most of us are confused about what does it say, when is consent broken, if it's ever broken, and can you rely on a person who has once consented before? And yeah, let's dive into this video. So let's start with this case. I'll link the full article that discusses this case of R versus Hutchison, which is a 2014 case, and it was heard in the Supreme Court. It says that control over sexual activity that one engages lies at the core of human dignity and autonomy. It further says that the commitment to protecting a person's autonomy and dignity requires individuals to have a right to determine who touches their body and how the touching will occur. That is why, in a nutshell, what it's saying is that you have a right to decide who you're going to have sex with, how are you going to have sex, and where exactly are you going to have sex. You have the right to do that. That's what it says. So non-consensual intercourse is a cohesive sexual practice that undermines one's sexual autonomy, bodily integrity, and the right to decide on the act that they are willing to participate in. Say, for example, you were having, sorry about that, I'm trying to place this properly. Say, for example, you were having consensual sex with your partner, penetrating through your genital organs, and you decide, now I just want to hit the anus, and I want to have anal sex. If the person does not consent to that and they decide to go and report that, it doesn't nullify the other consent, but what's nullified is the fact that I did not consent to how you did this, and it would then constitute to rape. You get it? That's what, in a nutshell, that's how consent works. So the Act deals specifically with the sexual crimes. Specifically, it's the Criminal Law, Sexual Offenses and Related Matters Amendment Act, and the last amendment was done in 2021. I'll link the act here below. So who exactly can consent? All right, so consent brings people into agreement. So if we are consenting, we then come into agreement as the two of you. So that is why that having sex, both parties must be able to consent. What do I mean about that? There are certain people who lack consent. For example, I'll just speak about age as it's determined in the Criminal Law, Sexual Offenses and Related Matters Amendment Act. I'll link the act below. And obviously people with who are unconscious, and people who lack capacity to consent, those people are not going to be able to give consent. Anyways, let us go to consenting to sex in terms of age. Particularly, I'll deal with statutory rape, which I know that occurs a lot, especially in our Black community, because ingane ikhula and ngoba nakisi they have like very curvaceous bodies or whatever, you'll decide that this one is ready. You'll even say, this one is ready, knowing very well that the child might just be 30, but just happens to have a very well-built and big body, and you'll decide whether they are now ready when they are not. Anyways, I digress. A person who commits sexual penetration who is 12 years but under the age of 16, if you commit a sexual penetration with a person who is 12 years but under the age of 16, besides them consenting, you are guilty of penetration of a child. You are guilty of that. However, if you are 12 years old but under the age of 16, and both the parties who are involved in committing of that act, for example, a 12 and a 14-year-old, will not be guilty of statutory rape. But both the parties must have an age difference of 2 years. So a 17-year-old and a 12-year-old would be guilty of that act. And then what else do I want to mention about that? So then let's look at the myth that let's look at myths around this. Okay, I'm looking at my computer right now. So most of the myths about sexual offenses is that women who wear provocative clothes or revealing clothing are asking for it. That is not true. One needs to consent. They need to consent. And this other thing that rape is a crime of passion, it's not. It is a crime of violence. You are violent if you're doing that. Very often it is planned. Sometimes, obviously, it's not planned. You just meet a person and they just kick you or whatever. But the most thing, I've written a post, I think it was 2019 or 2020, where I spoke about how this act is actually based on power of the person. It has nothing to do with the actual act that you are doing to the person, but rather it's often a power dynamic, which I have the power to do that. And there's this other myth where it's only females who are harmed by this act. The act specifically speaks on penetration. It says penetration of the mouth, the genital parts, the anus, or any other place, obviously, that one can penetrate as a way of a sexual act can be raped. And in those people, and in a guy, it can happen to a guy where they penetrate their anus, and it would be rape. You get it? Yeah. And then what other myth do I want to speak about? Okay, the fact that people say that rapists are strangers. Most survivors of sexual offenses are usually most of the time family. They are family, friends, partners, and community members. And yes, it can happen from people that are not strangers. It can happen from people that are trusted, from friends, from family. It happens, and it could happen even from your partner, as I've indicated earlier, that you could consent to having penetration in a certain way, and it turns out your partner has changed and decided they want to explore certain things. And if you are not aware of that and you've not consented to that, it amounts to the act of rape. This other thing of children, one question often asked is, why are children from the age of 12 lack consent but are allowed to obtain? Children who are 12 or under are allowed to have medical treatment. A child who is under the age of 12 that lacks consent to even consent to medical procedures done to them. But a child at the age of 12 has a right to confidentiality, and they have a right to get access to certain things like contraceptives, TOP, all of those. And that in terms of the Children's Act of 2008 says that every child has a right to access information on health, promotion and prevention and treatment of ill health, disease, sexuality and reproduction. They are entitled to confidentiality unless obviously it's in the best interest of the child. For example, you could go in and then obviously ask for a contraceptive and then maybe speak with the person who's providing you that, and they find out that actually this person is being molested by a certain individual, so it would be at the best interest that I report them. You have that right, obviously, as a medical practitioner, because one of the core things that the Children's Act says is that everything should be in the best interest of the child. All right, so to close this off, what's sad about South Africa is that children under the age of 16 are having sex. And the Human Sciences Research Council, HSRC, and Save Children International reported that the average sexual debut of both girls and boys in South Africa is 14. And often that's without the knowledge of their parents. And what is also said, what one needs to note is that children under the age of 17, you are having these acts at 14, but even when you are 17, you lack the comprehensive knowledge of sexuality, gender, reproductive health, and other rights. So these people are just acting, but they don't know the consequences, they don't know everything that has to deal with that. And when you ask a person, maybe once they are 14, or once they are like 21, did you understand what was consent? Did you consent to all those acts that happened when you were at this age? They're like, actually, no, I don't, but I was doing it. So that is why I felt that this conversation is important, especially since it is Child Protection Week. And yeah, what else do I want to say about this? Okay, with that said, thank you for watching this video. And if you're still not sure about consent from your partner, please inquire with them. Please inquire even with an attorney. Do some reading. There are so many reported cases about consent where people are confused about consent. Did I actually really consent to this? And in order for you to not cry Guti, as you all say, Guti, no, this law only protects this type of gender only. No, it protects both parties. It's just a matter of you knowing what are your rights. And yeah, with that said, thank you for watching. I'm much better, just to report, I'm much better. And yeah, I'll be going back to work on Monday. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.